Hey, you're watching Viewer Takeover on PSVR without Parole.
Get out of here, I'm trying to play.
This is PSVR Gamescast Live, where we film not live, very, very late every Tuesday night, and then we bring it to YouTube way too early every Wednesday. Man, there's no other video that we do that's a faster turnaround than this show.
Yeah.
Right, we film it, I edit it, and I upload it as fast as possible. Trains involved and everything. I don't know if you heard that toot, but there it is. I'm Brian Paul, that's Desiree Lestrange, and we sit here and we answer all of your questions. That's what we do on Viewer Takeover.
Every single question from everyone about anything.
Ever.
All the time.
So in other words, we just have to sit here and tell people over and over and over
The bathroom is up there, past the kitchen to your left.
that Five Nights at Freddy's launches on this date and this time and will cost this much money, because we've never gotten more questions about one thing ever. So hopefully you found it, you bought it, you played it, and we can move on.
Sony has entire marketing and PR departments that is their job to get that information out.
Do they?
Yes, why is
Oh,
it?
well,
why,
how come we're not hearing from them?
seriously. Or why do people even have those questions?
Right. It should be plastered everywhere.
Right.
In all fairness, it was delayed a week at the last minute.
Yeah.
And no one told anyone.
But still.
Right. We told you. No one listened. But so every week on Viewer Takeover, we sit here and we answer your questions. But we also want to thank a ton of people before we really get the show rolling, because, man, that's what this show is all about. This is Viewer Takeover is also when we want to share the spotlight with the viewers. And the first viewer we want to thank is Darwin's Eyeball. great name, by the way.
Just his eyeball.
Just his eyeball, who sent us that Viewer Takeover introduction. We were saying we hope that's his wife and just not some person he abducted and made play VR.
Well, she's a good sport either way.
Either way, thank you so much, young lady. Thank you, Darwin's Eyeball, for sending in that Viewer Takeover introduction. If you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover introduction, I don't know. If you want to introduce next week's Viewer Takeover, make sure you send us your short, sweet, seductive. You think that was supposed to be seductive, or you think it was supposed to be psychotic, which is the other thing we always tell you it should be. There's
a fine line between the two.
We ride that line every single week. Without parole@gmail.com. It is a Gmail account, so keep it short and keep it simple, okay?
Yes.
And really, you don't have to go crazy, as you just saw with Darwin's Eyeball there. Just point the camera at yourself, say, my name is this, welcome to Viewer Takeover. It's always awesome to see the face of a game cat.
The KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Yep.
The KISS?
KISS.
I thought that was a rule of writing.
It's a rule of everything.
Oh,
yep.
True. Darwin's Eyeball isn't the only person we want to thank, though, this week. Is he, Desiree?
No, it is not. We want to thank these lovely people down here.
These
are the names of our Patreon supporters who signed up to donate at least $1 a month. And they get access to, of course, having their name publicly displayed down here, should they choose to. Or they also get access to the litter box. We're just going to let him do that for a while.
Which is our weekly exclusive show. It's not always weekly, but I try to get one up every week, where Des and I kind of sit here and we talk about something that we're going to talk about anyway. Sometimes it's game related, sometimes it's not. This week it definitely was not. But that's what we do.
There's Superman games.
People always refer to the litter box and our Patreon page in general as a behind the scenes pass.
Yes.
To Without Parole. So if you like us and you inexplicably want more of us, make sure you head on over to patreon.com/withoutparole
games,
and you give us $1 or more every single month. Trust us, people are like, what's my dollar going to really do? How is it really going to help you?
It does a lot.
It really does. If you do it and in hundreds or thousands of other people do it, then man, we're really going to be able to start getting paid and doing this full time. So we appreciate every single contribution.
You'll be able to eat.
I do eat lots of ramen noodles, right? And thank you to the Game Cats. Occasionally I get to eat a pizza, which is my favorite. I'm just a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you to our Viewer Takeover introduction. But also we want to thank the people who changed their name to Gamecat to show their loyal support of the channel. Game Cats are the loyalist of the loyalist, the fluffiest of the fluffy. Who changed their name to Gamecat this week, Desiree?
So the way we found these people is make sure if you do change your name.
Oh, I'm so bad at this.
Yeah, that's all right.
We've done this hundreds of times.
That's okay. Well, we're also switching up. For some reason, I did the intro for that.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to roll with it.
It's all right. But anyways, so make sure if you do change your name, just give us a hashtag GameCat somewhere in the comments, something so we can know to track you down and give you a shout out.
Track you down.
Track you down. So this week we have Shuby, the Game Cat. Or Shub, the Game Cat.
Yo, Webster Square.
Webster Square, the Game Cat.
Shuby's from Webster Square.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
We live in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Local boy.
And Shuby lives about 2 miles down the road from us. That's why we don't tell people where we are.
And he lives about like 1,000 feet from the fencing club. So
that's why we don't tell people where we are, Des. Who knows? Shuby could be
a potential customer for the Worcester Fencing Club. Yay.
Anything.
Okay.
All right.
And we also have JC, JAYCEE, PSVR, the Game Cat.
Don't worry. Bing. It'll pop up ahead of us.
Okay.
You don't need to spell it out.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, just like Void Citizen last week, JC was one I never thought we'd see change his name. Because, he's definitely trying to do his own YouTube channel.
Sure.
So thank you very much. We love you.
Appreciate that. We have K-Panic, the game. K-Panic, the VR Game Cat.
K-Panic's been around forever, man. Like,
Absolutely.
I love seeing this switch. But he's another one, just like Celia, the Game Cat last week, who was like, well, I got to create a new account just to change my name to Game Cat. We appreciate you.
But that's okay. We have Gamecat for Life.
I love that, but I have no idea who it is. Who was that before Gamecat for Life?
Maybe they were just always Gamecat for Life. We have Wait for it, Cat.
Very How I Met Your Mother inspired.
Is that Hotcakes?
No, it's actually not.
It's not? Okay.
Hotcakes is giving up the hunt.
All right. We have JNet, the Game Cat. Hey.
Nice. Actually, JNet changed their name quite a while ago and just never gave us the hashtag GameCat.
Oh, all right.
So we finally included JNet. Thank you.
We have Domenico Tavani, Game Cat.
Nice. Very
Domenico
traditional.
Tavani, Game Cat.
Here's my name, GameCat. I like
works
it.
for me. And we have the Vegan VR King, the Gamecat.
The Gamecat.
The Gamecat.
Wow, I was hoping that was a spelling mistake, but that's actually really what it is.
Yep.
Vegan VR King. Is that like the opposite of Burger King?
I very much. Well, actually, no, because aren't they launching the Incrediburger there soon? I think that's coming out there.
I have no idea what that is.
It's a completely meatless, but it looks and tastes and feels like real meat. Like actually,
at Burger King?
I believe so. It's something that's been out and available to buy.
Is this the one that actually bleeds?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't actually bleed. This is
No,
one of my.
I know. But that's how they're selling
That's
it.
not blood. When you get a steak medium rare, that is not blood. Okay, the blood has been out of that for ages.
Every PR piece of information I saw
I know.
about
they
this
say.
was that it actually bleeds. Like it reacts like a real piece of meat.
Yes.
But yeah, obviously that's not blood.
That's one of my biggest. I don't like it bloody. Well, it's not bloody. It hasn't been bloody in months.
Don't ever wait tables, or you'll end up like us.
Yeah.
All right. So Des, what we really do here though is answer people's questions and comments.
8 goddamn minutes later.
8 goddamn minutes. That's what we do. And there are different ways you can leave comments for us to find.
Yes.
One is below any of our videos. You can put the hashtag Viewer Takeover. No space in between. Come on, let's jam. And then leave your comment or question after it. We'll find it. I search all the comments for hashtag Viewer Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
The other way, and the more fun way, is to go to our Discord server. Join us over there. It's the ongoing, everlasting conversation. Kid you not, you can join that thing at 5 a.m. I mean, it seems like everybody's awake all the time, which makes me feel less crazy. But yeah, no, there's always people hanging out there. If you ever want to talk about video games or anything else under the sun, join our Discord. On our Discord server, there's a Viewer Takeover channel. You can just leave your Viewer Takeover question there.
A little shortcut.
That's right. All right, so starting the questions off this week comes from Woody the Bluebird. Heads up, Woody the Bluebird. You left us a great suggestion, and we used it. You'll find out what it is later. He writes on PSVR this week. He writes hashtag Viewer Takeover because he knows what's up.
Like a pro.
I read today that Sony is setting up a new studio called PlayStation Productions, which will convert games into movies. Which game would you like to see as a movie? And Brian, you're not allowed to choose Resident Evil 7. That's a given. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The articles I read about this either were confused or I'm confused. Because I thought PlayStation Productions was meant to convert, to make movies out of Sony's original IPs.
Yes.
But every article I read, they were talking about things like Tomb Raider, talking about things like Resident Evil, where I'm like, these aren't Sony IPs.
Well, I think they were using those as examples of like, oh, here's our games that have been tried to make into the
that were
movie.
turned into horrible movies.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so they were using those as examples of ways this has failed in the past.
Yeah.
Like actually, I read one. It was like Warcraft. Oh, that's right. There was a Warcraft movie, wasn't there?
Oh, yes, there was.
Those poor bastards.
Yeah, I never saw it. Did you?
Did anyone?
But you're kind of a Warcraft guy, or were you not?
No.
You just seem like you would be.
Okay.
So here's
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
So this is what's going on, and before we even get into our opinions or whatever, this isn't the first time this has happened.
Right.
Back in the day, I mean, about 20 years ago, I think, Square set up their own movie division and released Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, right? And they, because they had such amazing CG in all their games, they're like, well, let's just blow this out into an entire studio and make movies. And as it turns out, you need more than just cool special effects to make good movies.
How about a game with the name of an IP that actually uses stuff from the IP?
Or how about one that has a story that's worth telling?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you need good writers, and you still need good directors and all these things. Even though you have the amazing ability to create amazing CG, that doesn't mean you can make a good movie.
You can't make a Final Fantasy movie and not have people walking around with swords. I'm sorry.
There was a guy named Sid in it. That's all I thought it took.
Yeah.
So this does not mean automatic success, and there have been so many god awful video game movies over the years that, like, this makes me nervous.
Well, can we actually just call this, most of the media isn't reporting the full name of this. It's not actually Sony Productions. It's Sony, oh my God, we fucked up Spider-Man so badly we had to give it back to Marvel Productions. So these are the same people. Like, everyone's like, this is going to be amazing. It's like, well, no. So yeah, just because they have IP and just because they have a lot of money does not mean it's going to be successful.
Sirens on our end. Sorry.
That being said, to answer your question, do you have any off the top of your head, or?
I mean, I've got 1,000.
Okay, 1,000. All right.
I mean, anything that Team Eco made. So like Eco, Last Guardian, Shadow of the Colossus. Like, I mean, like, those games told such brilliant stories without saying a word. And now I'm like, I would love to see those stories told maybe with words.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about that too, but then I was like, actually, what makes those so magical is there's so much you can read into it. You've got to put some of yourself into the narrative, that having it said explicitly may kind of ruin some of that magic. Yeah. But, they'd be gorgeous anyways.
I'm like scanning the walls. I'm like, what else would I like to see as a movie?
My biggest one, and it's again, I don't have the biggest history with PlayStation with Sony, so but Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. That's ready to go as, like, just, you want a series in this world. It's such a unique, original idea. It's a really interesting, post-apocalyptic. We have plenty of post-apocalyptic movies, but this just visually is so striking and different. And it's halfway to being a movie already. The other one, I just kind of looked into the titles. Anna Kournikovas Smash Court Tennis. I think we need to.
I'm not even bringing up a trailer for that.
I just, I was just.
Don't make me do more editing than required.
I was just quickly scanning through titles, like, oh.
Was that an original Sony?
They actually teamed up with Namco.
And Namco, at least Namco makes good stuff like that. Anyway, but just to get back into the factual stuff, the PlayStation Productions has two things at least that we know are in development. One, which I know AJ is going to freak out about.
Yes.
A Twisted Metal TV series.
A TV series. That's
I think that could be so cool. Because the stories behind all these characters are so dark. I really hope they dive into the Twisted Metal Black universe.
Oh, do you think it should just be like a anthology show?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And then on top of that, they said that the Uncharted movie that's been rumored to be in development for forever, like a decade now.
Speaking of Spider-Man,
it's they're saying that they're actually far into production of the Uncharted movie.
Right. Yeah. No, and as I said, because I think Tom Holland is rumored to be our Nathan Drake.
Interesting.
Which is a weird choice, but okay.
Every choice I've heard so far has been weird.
Yeah.
I mean, the only proper choice would have been to get Harrison Ford from 25 years ago.
Or Nathan Fillion, have him lose, a couple pounds, because as much as I love the guy, he needs to trim down a little bit.
I don't think I know who he is.
The guy, Captain Mal from Firefly, Captain Hammer. You know him if you saw him.
People are gonna make fun of me for not.
He was from
Firefly.
Oh God, what was that?
We've been through this before.
Castle. He was on Castle. All right. Anyways,
Europe, Asia.
Europe, Asia. Oh, that's right. I'm going to tab to another tab on my browser, because I'm using my laptop right now.
You just broke the seventh wall.
It's just easy to see this way. All right. So this is from Mr. Sonic on the Discord server. # Viewer Takeover. Do you see the second gen of Do you see the second gen of PSVR still dominated by indie devs? Or do you think more AAA developers will jump in on PSVR 2? Any devs you guys are hoping for in particular? I've been team indie since day one. So I like the fact that that's what we're seeing now, because we're such on the bleeding edge. I like the fact that, going back to or actually no, I almost broke some time stuff, but I like the craziness that indie developers bring us, and I want to see more of that. So I'm not the one who's writing like, oh, we need the AAA stuff, because
I'm gonna say, despite the fact that we love our indie games, I'm gonna say that to answer the question, what do we think we're gonna see? Two things. One, I think the power of the PlayStation 5 is gonna make it very, very easy for developers to go, oh, just flip that switch, right? The Lloyd analogy, the guy living in Sony's basement that is tasked making all these games and putting them into VR. We can now just, it's going to be way easier to just flip a switch and put everything into VR. It's not going to be that simple, but with the power, you won't have to scale down textures and resolutions and everything to make it possible. Yeah, it's going to be so much easier now to do that. And now that the technology's been in everyone's hands for a while and people are getting more used to it, I think that bigger AAA developers are going to say, sure, we'll tack on a VR thing for this too for those guys. So I think we're going to see a lot more AAA developers taking advantage of the VR capabilities. But the other thing I wanted to say is, we're definitely going to see a lot of indie developers continue to make PlayStation VR games. But the good thing about that is that because PSVR and Oculus and Vive, because they haven't been so mainstream since their launch, it's given a lot of indie developers a chance to really get in there and like make that space their own. Yeah. Right? Like Arvory, the developers of Pixel Ripped 1989, like there's no way Pixel Ripped would have gotten nearly the amount of attention it did if the VR space was just jam-packed with AAA title after AAA title after AAA title. It would have just been passed over. Right. But the fact is that they came in and now they're talking about, we're going to pump out a new Pixel Ripped game every single year from a different decade. Yeah. And I was like, that's so cool. And so we're seeing all these indie developers not only get their footing and get in early on VR, but they're also having major success in the VR space, which means that these indie developers are very quickly becoming our B tier, A tier, and soon AAA tier of developers. So we've given them a chance to make some money, I think, by being the only ones around. And now that they're doing that, they're building their teams up, and they're quickly becoming, a more powerful force to be reckoned with, which I love. Yeah, see, that I like to see. What I don't like to see is actually what you were just describing there. The AAA developers saying, okay, well, now we can just flip a switch and make it VR. Well, that doesn't require any thought. That's not going to make it any... Like what my favorite VR experiences are the ones that, no, you couldn't do this any other way. It's not just the same game I was playing. As much as I love Borderlands in VR, it's the same game you were playing. It's just now in VR, and that's not what I want. I want something that is unique and special that you can only do in this. But that's what we're going to get. You're absolutely right. AAA title is not. They're not going to spend. We're going to drop $25 million in developing a game that will only work in VR and take advantage of the special nature of the medium. Right. No, we're going to make our AAA title that everyone else can buy, and then we'll flip that switch so you guys can play it with your weird little head thing too. My only retort to that, is that the correct word? Retort? Yeah. Response, whatever. Is that you said this game we were playing anyway is now just in VR. Right. I wasn't playing that game anyway. This is also true. Right. I've gotten to a point where if it's not in VR, I don't get to play it. And I know that puts me in kind of a small little club. And tons of the Gamecats are in the same boat where they've just 2D gaming or flat screen gaming has lost all appeal to me. I just don't have the time for flat screen gaming. So the fact is if God of War, if Sony had just flipped the switch on God of War, or if they flipped the switch on Spider-Man, or if they flipped the switch on, or Capcom flipped the switch on Resident Evil 2 remake, I would have played all of those games. Yeah. And even if it wasn't this amazing VR, exclusive mode, first person, whatever, I still would have played it instead of having not played it. Right. So I will give them, hey, flip that switch for me, because I will take all of your flip switch games. That sounded weird. I'd rather see a big swing that fails than just another cookie cutter Call of Battlefield, whatever. Four. Yeah. All right. Am I up? I'm up. You up? This comes from K Panic, the VR Gamecat. He says, hashtag viewer takeover. This is from the top 20 PSVR game list. Go check that out. It's a lot of games on there. It's already outdated. It's been out for 2 weeks. It's totally outdated. He writes, hashtag viewer takeover. Hashtag it's a VR thing. What do you guys think about creating a top 10?
2 rating.
A top 10
or 2s.
2 rating.
Yep.
Should we buy on sale list? So if you don't watch our show, Why We Love PSVR, we rate it 1, absolute best, you need this.
Yep.
2, it's okay, pick it up on a sale. 3, don't buy it. He's saying, can you make a list about the 2 games?
I'll tell you what. We'll put the effort into doing that if someone out there puts the effort into starting a wiki and keeping track of all our ratings. Because you know what we haven't done?
Anything like that?
We don't have a database or anything anywhere where we can look up all of our 2s.
We got nothing like that. And also, don't make promises that I can't keep. Because even if somebody does make that wiki, here's the problem, K-Panic.
Yeah.
I added this because I think there's 2 very important classifications of games we need to talk about. The ones, which is a top 20 list. These are games that you need to play, right? Just get them. And then there's the other all-important list that we didn't start this episode the way I meant to start it off by thanking all of our subscribers for getting us to 40,000 subscribers. Thank you very, very, very much. We are honored and privileged to be in this situation. Crazy. It is absolutely ludicrous that 40,000 subscribers have subscribed to PlayStation PSVR without Parole. Never in a million years I think we'd ever be here.
Where were we at when we first switched over to PSVR? Because I know when I started with you, we were like 100 something. All right, 1,000.
Yeah. We never thought we'd be in this situation.
That's
and
awesome.
I feel like it's a very privileged situation, and I'm honored to be part of your lives.
40,000.
So the point of me breaking into that was to tell you I'd started.
The channel's over. Bye.
I'd started making another list, a video in celebration of 40,000 subscribers. Like, oh, it's coming up. It'll be here soon. I was like, I got a week. I got about a week until this happens. Yeah. And man, you guys came flooding through the door faster than you ever have before, to the point where I thought I had a week and I had 2 days. And
That's awesome.
Well, it's great, but that means our 40,000 subscriber special video is going to be 5 days late.
Well, that was going to be 50,000.
Right. Unfortunately, it's going to be like a 41,000 subscriber celebration. So in what it is, it's the other side of this coin. It's the, hey, these are the games you need to buy, and these are the games you need to avoid. Right. So we're always out here to help save you money and to let you know, inform you, in the fastest, easiest way possible, what you should or should not be playing. And so we want to save you money at all costs, any possible way. So before we get to a list of, hey, here's the most mediocre or average games on PSVR, we want to tell you the other side of that top 20, which, hey, these are the 10 games you got to avoid.
Okay.
So give us time. Unfortunately, everything takes longer than you could possibly expect.
Well, and that's the case too for the top 20 videos. It sounds like, and even I had this mistake when I first started getting involved with this, that would be an easy thing to do. Okay, it's hard to come up with a list of 20, whatever. But once you have it, throwing that video together is easy. No, cutting out all those clips, doing all making it look as good as Brian wants it to look. It's probably the one that I may not be speaking out of school here, but probably one of the most complicated things you do for the channel, I would think.
It's the most time consuming.
Time consuming, yes.
I mean, also reviews. Reviews are the most deceptively time consuming. Yeah. Because it takes 10 hours to play the game, and it takes another 10 hours to not only write the script, but also start putting the pieces together and doing the voiceovers, and then finally get that 5-minute little video, and you're like, oh, I had no idea there's 20 hours of work behind this. So anyway, moving on. Thank you so much, K-Panic. So in other words, we probably won't see that list anytime soon. Yeah. But AJ and I love lists. And so I think you'll see more lists from us in the future, more regularly. I just don't know if a 2 rating list is going to be on there. All right. You're up.
So from Mark S., Viewer Takeover, hashtag Viewer Takeover, like a pro. I recently found out about Walkover for PSVR, and it seems like a great 3D rudder alternative for those that like to stand. Do you know much about it, or how far away it is? Do you think it can work with moves, considering it requires you to physically turn? Well, all I know is I looked at their Kickstarter page today, and it exists. There's a physical device out there that they've given to some people to review. Other than that, they're kind of cagey about. I don't see any release dates here. Their MSRP is $249.
You have to be kidding me.
I am not.
Okay, so for $250, it's now double the price of the 3D rudder.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark is absolutely right. The problem is that when you're dealing with the light tracking that the PlayStation VR deals with,
Yep.
you can very, very seldom turn around. Like the headset has no problem turning fully around.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing a game with dual move controllers or a single move controller, the camera has to always see that light.
Right.
This sounds like a horrible idea, especially at $250, because what you're doing essentially, in case you guys didn't see the video, I'm sure it'll be on top of this one. You're basically jogging in place to move forward and then turning your body to turn.
Yes.
It seems like a horrible idea for move control games.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, jogging in place is
Evasion had it. Evasion,
Yeah.
and actually it was the thing I liked most about Evasion.
That's
I was like,
true.
this
I
feels
forgot-
so goofy, but it's working. You just kind of like, hop up and down a little bit, do a little running in place, and you move around. I was like, this isn't bad.
and they're claiming too that it's going to help. It's going to defeat motion sickness. It's like no, because hopping up and down like that isn't the same as walking.
Right.
It's not. I don't know. Maybe we're dead wrong. If they want to send me a review copy, I will gladly try it out for them, and try not to vomit all over the place. But it seems like a solution in search of a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a better solution than the 3D rudder, because like as we talked about in the Wizards review, it just doesn't feel right. And maybe, I can see from maybe like they showed, they show one of the videos with the Oculus that has that Guardian system, and it's like the way it's set up is like you can walk around freely within that Guardian. I can sort of see that. We're like, oh, it's if I want to walk around a small room, like let's say one of our many escape the room sort of horror games.
Yeah.
And like, okay, here's your mapped out area, and now you can walk around in that area. Okay, maybe there's a use case for that. But again, once you start moving around and moving away from the light, where the PSVR is right now, that's not going to be a solution for us.
Yeah, I think we're in a weird place. As Generation 1 PSVR is, wrapping up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we still haven't seen Generation 2 or whatever, but we haven't seen how it will be powered by a PlayStation 5. But, we're getting there. The check's in the mail for sure. It seems like there's a lot of these third-party developers jumping onto this strange bandwagon. They're saying, hey, you love your VR? Here's something you need for it. And like just goofy little gadgets and goofy little, solutions to things that don't need solutions currently. It's like, I really feel like these are not the solutions that we're looking for. I've been very patient with my 3D rudder, and I have yet to find a good game that takes full advantage of it the way that you think it would work well in, and so far, not so much. Nothing. I should rephrase that. It works in every game that it supports, but not better than the current locomotion scheme that is already implemented in that game. It takes a few minutes to like learn how to walk around using the move controllers, but once you do, that's the best solution we have right now.
Yeah.
My feeling is that if Evasion basically did this with the current technology, just like by asking us to kind of hop in place, then you know what? If this is something we really want, then like get the game developers to add that hopping in place mechanic to their games too. I don't think we actually need these extra attachments that again force you to turn in real life, and also are going to block the move controllers from the camera.
And also, I could buy a second headset for the cost of.
So expensive. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
We're not looking forward to that at all.
And I'm sure they're not ripping us off. I mean, there's some pretty advanced tech that's going on in there.
Sure.
So, all right.
And then finally, am I up?
You are up.
LOB Seahawks 12 writes, on the Blood and Truth PSVR first impression video that actually was just the full game from start to finish. 5 hours, by the way.
Dude.
Yeah, I was just like, I'll play this for a little while. And then I was like,
Wow.
I'm like halfway there. Let's just keep going. Hashtag Viewer Takeover, hashtag It's a Thing. Is Blood and Truth possibly the new go-to game to show to someone who's never played VR before? For me, it was Rush of Blood, but maybe this one takes its place. LOB Seahawks also asked me in a separate question, should I buy Blood and Truth or should I buy Immortal Legacy? And I said Immortal Legacy.
Really?
Just FYI.
Ooh, hot take from Ryan Paul.
Well, it's also $20 Immortal Legacy, and this
is
Blood and
true.
Truth is 40. And if you haven't played either one,
Yeah.
I would say grab Immortal Legacy first.
Yeah.
You're going to see a very excited, stellar review about Blood and Truth from me.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Immortal Legacy better.
Okay.
That's personal preference. Very few people are going to agree with me, but But part of the problem Blood and Truth has as a go-to game to show to someone who's never played VR before is that there are these huge story arcs, huge story segments where you're just like the London Heist before it, but even longer segments where you're just sitting there listening to the story. Somebody's talking to you, and those are really, really, really well done. If you're going to put someone to VR for the first time, you don't want them just sitting there waiting for the story segment to be over. You like Rush of Blood, you want them to like be blasting things and constantly moving and whatever. Blood and Truth has such a strange locomotion system that like I think Rush of Blood is still a better safe bet because just eliminate the locomotion completely and let somebody sit there and shoot guns and have cool things come at them.
Yeah. I'd have to agree, like, all cards on the table. I have downloaded Blood and Truth. I haven't played it yet, and I've been trying not to watch any videos because I want to go into it cold on my own and try to, all I've ever seen is the trailer. I deliberately did not watch Brian's Let's Play. I didn't even watch, like, Amanda will probably get to it before I do. I didn't even want to watch her playing it. I want to just go into this completely cold myself. So that specifically I can't speak to. I think Rush of Blood is a decent choice, but again, I'm going to be the Mr. Motion Sickness guy. Make sure your potential victim or participant either is really solidly sure they don't get motion sickness before you throw them into that, because even though there's not a lot, and even though now it doesn't bother me, when I first played it, I absolutely had to tap out. So maybe think of some other choices too.
And as far as like where Blood and Truth should be in terms of like your VR story, that shouldn't be the game you show to somebody the first time they play VR.
Right.
But if you're buying a VR headset, it should be one of the first games you buy for your VR headset.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, even though I love Immortal Legacy and I actually enjoyed playing it more, like this is an awesome, hey, I just bought a PSVR. What should be one of my first games to play? Because this sort of does everything. It lets you just sit there and take in the story, and then it allows you to like shoot guns and like all these crazy action sequences. Yeah. It's amazing in that regard, and it's like gonna blow the pants off of anybody who plays it. So like it's the first. It shouldn't be the first game you show to somebody, but if you're buying a PSVR headset, it should be the first game you buy.
Does it have a moment where Amanda will scream like she did when she got stabbed in the London Heist? Because that was amazing.
Probably a few scream-worthy moments.
Yay! All right,
you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Another episode of Viewer Takeover. Make sure you submit your hashtag Viewer Takeover questions in the comments below or on our Discord server. Also, make sure you change your name to Gamecat and put hashtag Gamecat in the comments somewhere so we can find you. Also, hit us up on patreon.com/withoutparole
games
for $1 or more every single month, and make sure you subscribe and like this video and all the above, all good stuff. Thank you so much for being one of our 40,000 subscribers. We love you all.
And make sure you sign my change.org petition to get Anna Kournikovas Smash Court Tennis remade in PSVR. Bye.